And some of it is so literal. And I teach choreography, and we're always trying to explain to the choreographer how sometimes literal can really work, and sometimes literal, we just go, if you're going to be so literal, why are you doing art? And how do you know? You don't, Umesh had a very good answer when we were talking about this that day. And he said, if the intention is clear, the motivation and the intention is clear and there's truth, it will work. The images are so evocative and simple and clear. Life, birth, life, death. And some of the images are like Mickey Mouse, the see no evil, hear no evil. I mean, suddenly it's like, huh? What is this, pop thing coming? I think it's easy to absorb on the one hand, but it's also like, but what is this? And I think that negotiation, or maybe that tussle of, like, I can do this. Maybe, it's like postmodern dance, right? I can do this, but what am I doing? So there's a magic, and there's a intrigue about it, and yet it's so simple. So I think those two things, have a push-pull effect, I think. The female presence, for sure. I didn't realize it when I first made the piece, but I realized it when we did the Capitans Club, and I put Sectim in it. And we did it, and I felt, this male body does not work. Maybe it was just Sectim's male body, which is, he's tall and he's muscular and all. Maybe a softer male body might have worked. But anyway, at that point I decided, no, this has got to be women. For me, it's it's three women on a journey, for sure. One is the happy, brave, free spirit, the first one, Anne, who comes out. She's very happy to come, play with the water, wash clothes, just live life in a very gentle, happy way. Then the second is the frightened spirit. That's Ivy, who doesn't want to come out of the urn. And she doesn't want to be born. And you have to coax her out. And she's the last one who comes out. The second one who comes out is me, and I'm the mother figure. And then Anne and I give birth to her. We go, okay, it's safe to come out. And then these three women on a journey, and then there are images of life, the washing clothes, the this, the that, the playing, the standing on top of the urns, the gaze into the future, or the gaze into dreams, or the gaze into desire, the gaze into, so many things. And then death, the final is, then I'm the only one who's brave enough to leave the urn. So I'm the one who moves furthest away, when the other two watch me and go, no, we ain't, this is our home. We ain't moving from this. I go, but then I come back to die. And then I go back in the urn. But the death is quite light and joyous. They are very happy. The two, whether they are my children, my friends, my partners, my lovers, whatever, they just slide on the urn. They wash themselves with the death water. It's like, yeah, she's gone. And then they just resolve, and then they just become quiet. So it's a very clear and not so clear journey of life, and these three women and those images of birth, life, and death. There is no conscious intention on my part to put in feminism as such. And there never was, and there still isn't. But if the audience reads it that way, it's fine with me, because the audience can, the images are clear and yet they are open for all kinds of interpretation. However, in dream country, I think the feminism becomes stronger. 35 women coming out of an urn. And again, there's no conscious thing of this is a feminist piece, but the power of the female is nothing to run away from. The power of these female bodies, the power of the movements, some of the images, 35 women standing on the earth, and that far gaze is so powerful. And the juxtaposition of what looks like it's coming from an ancient time against the central financial district of Singapore was just a perfect juxtaposition. So if this is ancient, but then, what is that relationship? And then and then at some point, the women are at the back and they're all dripping, and you suddenly hear the sound because they're all going ooh, and you kind of not sure where the sound is coming from. Then they all turn, and then they very slowly move forward in a line. It's very, very powerful. And then halfway through, the brief to them was, you move together in a line, and then halfway through you can decide what you want to do. You can stop, you can go back into your urn, you can sit on stage. And one person was asked to run. I don't know if she suggested it, I can't remember, or and she was a tall gazelle herself. So, like very slow, and then some people sit, some go back to the urn, and then suddenly like, prrr, she runs through the audience, and she keeps running until Esplanade, until like she just goes to the end of the world kind of thing. So I think, that those images of power, yeah. So in that sense, the idea of feminism comes through stronger in Dream Country, I think. Yeah. Okay, so my work has gone through kind of, I think, interesting evolution from very, very meticulous choreography, and Ivy, knows this, like, lift your hand another inch, please. Drop your chin 1 inch, tilt your head, like that kind of insane directions, to, and then improv, which became looser and looser and looser. I think for the urn piece was probably the first piece where I was using play, and not consciously like, I'm going to use play as a technique. So Maria Zaitan was improv, no play, improv. But again, I would sit and read the text and they would improv and then I would ship it. But in this one, here were these urns and this garden and this water, and it's like, how do we improv? Let's play. So the idea of play came because of the urns, the water and the garden. So you could throw water on each other, you could run around the garden, you could jump, so you could really play, which is what we did. So it came by accident, not as a theory I'm going to use. By accident, we played and played and played, and the play led to the improv, which led to more play, which led to more improv, which led to more play, which led to more improv, until the piece was finally crafted. What would I do? I have no idea. When the thing gets presented to me, that's when my head and body will start going ding, 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 ding. I'm thinking children might be fun and really go into that mode of play and just put 5,000 children in 5,000 urns. Make sure they don't drown and drink the muddy water. keep them safe, and just give them a few cues, and let them play and see what happens. I think it'd be wonderful. They would be jumping into each other's urns, they would play catching, and I wouldn't have to do anything. Just let them do for 20 minutes anything they want to do, with very few cues for the beginning, because and the ending maybe. Let's just do it. Yes.